you need around 50 wins, right? Which means you have 32 games to lose in a season. The Dallas Mavericks have already lost 19, meaning what? They have to win 38 of their remaining 51 games to get to a 50-win total.
Wow.
This Dallas team, things are coming around, but it may just be a tad bit too late. As early in the season as we are. But like you start off the season that bad, you have to play some phenomenal basketball to like catch back up. And I wish they could have won some more games in their figuring it out stage, because we are seeing now like they're figuring some things out, and this is a pretty talented unit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Real talk. You don't get extra money or extra salary cap space, or you don't get a trophy for finishing number one in the conference. You get the respect, I guess, and you get admiration from the fans and all of that, and you get predicted to win the finals more. You get favored more, but you do get home court. You do get home court. But I mean, I'm saying though, like for
Anthony Davis,
for the Mavericks, they barely just at this point. Like I think if you asked them, if you asked anybody, would you rather have home court? They would say yes. Would you rather be the number one seed? They would say yes. But would you take making the playoffs, whether it's the 8th seed, 6th seed, or 5th seed? Everybody's going to say yes to that too. And they have plenty of time to still do that. Even if they get in as a 10th seed. Okay, we win 2 games.
Ron, how many games is it going to take? How many games is it going to take? How many games is it going to take for them to get in the playoffs? Like, your point, Ron.
As of right now,
if you said the 10th seed, right? How many? Because last year I think the 8th seed won 48 games, right?
There's
last
51 year, games left, y'all.
Right. So, in these 51 games, I think they gotta. I think they gotta win 35 of the next 50 games.
So chill.
To get in that space.
They can get them.
The more important question is it in their best interest to be good?
Yes, absolutely.
That's the other thing.
Because if not,
are you alluding to them taking?
They're going to be getting that pressure. If not, they're going to be getting that pressure to trade Anthony Davis again, and that is a bad move. Trading Anthony Davis is a bad move.
They're half game out of the play right now.
Why is it a bad move to trade Anthony Davis?
7 games under 500. They're half.
Because they're their best player.
They don't have to win 35 of their next 50. They just have to win more than the teams ahead of them, which means they have to win more than Memphis, more than Portland, more than Golden State, more than Phoenix, more than Houston. I don't know. That's going to happen. More than Minnesota, Lakers, Denver, San Antonio.
Yeah, but look at like they're still 7 games below 500.
7 games
irrelevant.
But that doesn't matter.
That's not irrelevant.
It only matters against everybody else. Right.
Hold on. You're assuming that these other teams are trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
Real talk, and these teams are trending in the wrong direction. A lot of these.
I mean, I think they can definitely get in the play-in. They can definitely get in the play-in, right? But I'm saying, like, if I would feel much better if I'm the Mavs, if I'm kind of competing for the 6-5 seed, because I know Ox and y'all and Ron finna disagree. Like, I'm not trying to get a playoff, scratch in the play-in, right, to then play OKC in the first round. Like that, nobody's like wanting to.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. What if their best interest actually be good?
Why would you not want Cooper Flag to get early playoff experience? 19 years old, put him in
oh, you do want him to do that.
Sure. But to Damien's point, though, I'd rather be bad and just have a better pick.
What happened last year?
Like,
They were what happened last year? They were in the play-in. They were in the play-in.
And they were the 10th seed, by the way.
They were the 10th seed. They got knocked out. They got the number 1 seed. So, look, man, like with the NBA working out the flat and lottery odds. Of course. You're not asking for lightning to strike in the same place twice, but let's not pretend this team hasn't done this before. Okay?
I mean, but I would be asking for lightning to strike.
That's exactly what you're asking for. What happened last year?
But the alternate universe is this. You sell high on AD. Kyrie comes back. Maybe you sell high on Kyrie. Maybe you sell high on some of these role players who have pretty good skill sets for some of these other contenders. Maybe you bottom out a little bit, and then you pair Cooper Flag with another guy that you can spend the next 10 years trying to build something with them. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, AD's incredible. But AD's incredible. AD's incredible. But you're not winning him with your best player.
You're
not winning anything with him as your best player right now. I'm sorry.
No, asset management is important here.
I understand what you're saying, but you don't.
You're
have
not
a
winning
player
anything with
like
Anthony
Cooper
Davis
Flag playing this well. He's playing this well. You have Anthony Davis. He's playing well right now as well. And you do not tank with a player like this. You can't put that on a rookie player like Cooper Flag. When you got a guy like Cooper Flag, you compete. You compete and you compete. You got Kyrie Irving. Let's say Kyrie Irving comes back in the next month and a half, whatever. I don't know. Whenever he comes back. And Anthony Davis, who is still one of the top 10 players in the NBA. You compete. There's no reason at all to.
He can compete on a bad team.
No. I'm talking about as a team. I'm not talking about what sent Anthony Davis wanted to compete. I'm talking about. You're talking about Cooper Flag competing on the back. No. See, but that's my thing, Damian. This team, I believe already. I've said it before. When this team is healthy, they're contenders. They can make some noise. They can make some noise. So there's no reason to assume that you can't make a good run. And now I understand what you guys are saying. If you get the 10th or 9th seed, the best you can do is the 8th seed and play OKC first round. I think you need that. Like, obviously, you want to get that 6th seed. You want that 6. You possibly want the 7. But if you get the 8th seed, man, you take it to them. Now you go right up the street to Oklahoma City and you see what you can do. Now exactly. I know y'all don't believe that they can compete with OKC. I think they can compete. I don't know if they can beat them.
Who all thinks that they can compete with OKC? Can I just get everybody's show of hands?
I do.
With Kyrie Irving, absolutely, Ron. Absolutely.
What does competing mean?
With the size they have, they'll give them a series for sure.
Losing 6.
They'll give them a series. I just think you give Cooper Flag, listen, will they make the playoffs this year? Who knows? But if you do get in, yeah, they're going to lose to OKC in 5-6 games. Who cares? You let Cooper Flag get the ball with 30 seconds left with the game on the line in like a game 4. That is great experience for him to have for when you're ready to contend in a year or two down the line. He already has that in him. So I think, again, you have Kyrie.
But he's 19. He's going to get
that anyway. That is so overrated. If the alternative is be bad and get a potential another first round pick that can.
Why we even have these dudes on the floor then? Then why even have Anthony Davis?
Yeah, might as well just sell the house. Sell the
floor. That's what me and Damian are saying.
Sell the floor. Sell everyone then.
We're saying you should trade AD. You got off to too bad of a start. You just did.
That's not true. They're 12 and 19 with 51 games left.
I'm not talking about to be in the play-in. I'm talking about to actually. If the Mavericks wanted to make a good, like a deep playoff run,
I had them in the Western Conference Championship.
I
had them in the Western Conference Championship.
I got you. There was a pathway. Yes, there was. If everything went right, they were hovering around somewhere from the 3 to 6 seed or something like that.
They're 5 games behind the Rockets. Real talk. They're 5 games behind the Rockets in the 6th seed. 5
they're like 3.5 out of the 8.
Well, okay, that's 7 games.
But
7 games, but
they're in the basement.
5 wins away from them. There's 7 games behind.
But does no one here thinks they're going to be in the top 6, right?
Why not? There's 51. There's 51 games left to play.
Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving in 2025.
Anything that's good.
Damian, they're 50. They're 51. There's 51 games. The Houston Rockets just lost to the Clippers. So they can clearly lose games. The Dallas Mavericks just beat the Nuggets, so they can clearly win games. Then you got 51 games left to catch the Rockets.
Like, what is this?
Why do you not?
I don't look at the Dallas Mavericks.
Ox makes a really good point.
I don't think they're going to do it. I really
here's the thing, real talk, because Ox makes a really good point. Because where we started, we definitely started bad, and any of you guys know. Yeah, I was high on Dallas before the season started. I had them at the 4th seed.
I was as well.
I had them losing to the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. That's where I had them at. However, if we're looking at the
best team in Texas,
if we're looking at the standings right now, right? So as of right now, they're 12 and 19, right? 12 and 19. What's realistic for us? We got 51 games left in the regular season. We're 7.5 games. We're 7 games behind the Rockets. Can we catch Phoenix? Can we catch Golden State? Can we catch Memphis? Can we catch these teams? Like, don't get me wrong, they have to go in the tank. We gotta start rolling and they got to go in the tank. But is it realistic to think that in the Western Conference we could catch Phoenix, we can go on a roll, and we could catch Golden State? Yes, I think it's realistic to think that we could catch Phoenix.
I think you need to bluff the league, Joe.
But it does.
No. You need to bluff the league. Look, they're 7th in the league right now. They in terms of strength of schedule, they have to face the OKC Thunder once. They have to face the Spurs 3 times. They have to face the Denver Nuggets twice. They have to face. They also have to face the Knicks,
who we already beat. We just beat
them. They're basically in the Western Conference.
No,
that's
they have
what
to
it
face.
means. That's what that means.
Hang on, because there's a difference between being in the West and we already got our games against OKC and San Antonio out of the way versus we still have to play those teams. And
that's what I'm saying, Penn. When you're in the West, you have to play these teams.
Yes, but there's a difference between we're 12-19 and we already played them, and we're 12-19 and we got to play them next week.
Have to play
you understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Listen, like I think they canvassed the league and they looked around and they said, you know, what can we get for Anthony Davis? And I don't think they like what they heard. I think they canvassed the league and tried to figure out what they can get Daniel Gafford. I don't think they like what they heard because everybody knows they got to sell right now. So do the right thing. Do the right thing, as Spike Lee said, do the right thing and go and pretend like you don't have to do this. Pretend that you have options. Even if you don't really have options, pretend you have options. Be like that dude in poker who got a 2 and a 4 and just act like you got some aces in your hand and just be like, okay, y'all don't want to give us what we want for Anthony Davis. Y'all don't want to give us a couple first round picks for Daniel Gafford. We're going to go make the playoffs. You have a much better leverage in terms of negotiating at the trade deadline if you are 9th in the West than if you're 12th in the West and everybody knows you're out of it. It's very hard to negotiate a trading position for your assets from the bottom. I will also mention we've had an entire conversation about the Dallas Mavericks potentially making the playoffs and being good. We haven't talked about Derek Lively missing the entire year. That dude is very good and he is very important. The fact that he is out for the season makes a major case for what Damian is saying being right. But that being said, you cannot just go like you ever sell a house? You ever sell your house?
Wait a minute, though.
You ever walk around the street saying, someone please take my house, someone please take my house? No one's going to take your house if you walk like that.
Well, wait a
I'm
minute.
gonna wake up tomorrow.
Just have some nuts. Just have some nuts and compete.
Bro, like you can't just be walking around like my house is haunted. Please take my house.
I've sold many a house.
That is you talking about it would be if Anthony Davis continues to play like this through till the trade deadline. If a team feels like they're an Anthony Davis away from competing for a title, trust and believe they'll still give up whatever needs to be done to get Anthony Davis if they believe that's going to lead to a championship. That's number one. Number two, this is just math at this point. To be a around a top 6 seed in the West, we all agree you need around 50 wins, right? Which means you have 32 games to lose in a season. The Dallas Mavericks have already lost 19. Meaning what? They have to win 38 of their remaining 51 games to get to a 50-win total.
Wow.
That is highly unlikely at this point. That's why I'm saying you wasted time experimenting with Coop at point guard. You gave up your chance to compete because you screwed around being idiotic, in my opinion. I'm sorry. That point guard rep stuff.
Point guard is Anthony Davis being hurt. It's Anthony Davis being hurt.
Hey, Damian, after this take, Damian, we got
5 games behind the Phoenix Suns. 5 games.
We got to.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the chat throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen Hoop Talk hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.